Now then we have Cyrille Hanappe. Cyrille is an architect and a lecturer at École nationale supérieure d'architecture Paris-Belleville. He is also the founder of the association Actes et Cités and associated to the Air Architecture Office. His research deals with urbanism and architecture of welcoming cities. He recently published Ville ouverte, ville accueillante, édition Charles-Léopold Meyer, 2020. Please, Cyrille, we are listening to you.
Hello. Just to check that. Yes. Thank you very much. As Michel said, I'm an architect. I worked for many years with my students about informal situation and informal neighborhood and camps and squats all around France and also abroad. And in fact, the thing is that it's a question that existed actually for many years, is the interaction between migrants and cities. And we used to be with Michel in a program called Babels, called The City as the Borders, how cities shape migrants and how migrants shape the cities. This is, I'm going to speak to you about a few situations, and one mainly. Calais and Grande-Sainte. So, as most of you know, Calais is the closest city to Great Britain, and housed for, and has been a place where a lot of people gather trying to cross the channel. And close to Calais is the biggest city of Dunkirk, which has a suburb called Grande-Sainte, where policy were really different. In Calais, especially in 2015, 2016, and 2017, there was a particular situation when the local government and the national government actually decided to kind of allow people to go in one place. Before that, people were in camps and squad gathered within the city. And in 2015, they said to the people, okay, we're going to close, the police going to close all the camps and the squats in the city. And but people will be allowed in that neighborhood north of the city, which is on the road to the port of Calais, where people will be allowed. And maybe they were not aware at this time that actually they were opening the door to a new city in a way. And in many ways, the jungle of Calais was a small European city which followed all the scheme that you can observe in a traditional European city, except that things went much faster. The two maps you can see here were drawn by my students at École nationale supérieure d'architecture Paris-Belleville. We did that survey to help volunteers and migrants inside the city to have an understanding of their the place they live in, and to be able to put security plan and things like that going. So the plan on the left was the jungle in October 2015. Already you can observe that you have the shape of something that looks like a traditional medieval European city. On the right, it was 6 months later, and the government had decided to open an official camp, and it gave that situation where, and they say, well, all the south part of the jungle will be deserted. People will not be able to live there, but everybody will go to the north part, since there is that official camp that we're going to open here. And the official camp, and now you can see that this new map looks very much like a traditional European city, a little city in France, for example, where you will have the traditional neighborhood, the historical neighborhood, and the more modern neighborhood you have inside the city. Altogether, I mean, for people who knew the jungle of Calais, it was a very surprising place which was in the same time ugly and a place of solidarity, of incredible solidarity and positiveness. It was a really strange and mixed place. And that was the first thing that raised urban question about migrants and cities. So yeah, these are images done by my students, and you could find pieces of architecture that were really well working and particular. This is a Sudanese house. We don't have time now to go into details, but these houses were actually very clever and very intelligent, and they were high level of security, high level of convenience. All the parts of the building were designed very specifically for the function. Like here, the sleeping parts, you had the SAS to enter the sleeping parts. This was very low, covered with black cover, and so it was dark and warm and a cool place. While the kitchen was on the other side, was very much more ventilated. And you can see here there is a junction. So if there was a fire in the kitchen, the fire wouldn't go to the sleeping part. This is another house. And the thing is that Calais is a city, is a conservative city, which with a mayor which is very on the very right side, on conservative side. But 40 kilometers away from there, you had a suburb of Dunkirk called Grande-Sainte, where you had a mayor called Damien Carême, who was from the Green Party, and decided to do what he could do to host migrants. And when there was a welcoming crisis of migrants in 2015, the thing is that the little camp he was dealing with since the beginning had an explosion, and that little camp that had that housed 100 people from the beginning suddenly had to house 3,000 people, and a big problem emerged at that time. It would be long to say, but there was some problem with the ground, which actually collapsed, and everybody was living in mud. And the government would not help him. He was really annoyed, and he decided to ask Médecins Sans Frontières, the international NGO, to help him. And the thing that happened is that they decided together to finance and build a camp. It was mostly financed by the Médecins Sans Frontières. And but the thing is that Médecins Sans Frontières, as their name says, they are not urban planners. They are doctors. And we were there. I've been working on the topic of architecture and migrants for a long time, but we were not very strong as we didn't know exactly. Everybody was wondering, how should we design a refugee camp? There are some rules that exist in African camps and things, but what will be a place of hosting which will be well designed for people arriving in a city, people arriving in numbers. So this is this picture here is an image of the city of Grande-Sainte. Grande-Sainte is a new town. It was mostly designed and built in the 60s and 70s, 1960s, 1970s, and the center is here. There is that huge park which is for the city with a big lake here, and here you have the big commercial precinct, and there was that place here which was next to the motorway, next to a place where trucks used to stop, and so place where people could try to sneak in trucks going to Great Britain. And so this place was assumed as favorable to host a new camp. And so basically we worked with Doctors Without Borders, Médecins Sans Frontières, and the city. And the thing is that, as we say, when you open a camp, you never know when you close it. I mean, camps that were opened in 1945 in Palestine are still now existing, and they are important part of the cities. And So the thing is that we dealt with the Doctor Without Border, and we said, well, you know, you cannot just align houses, little houses all together. You have to create respiration as you have in a city. You have to create place and square and public infrastructure. And this was the way that we designed. We came to these kind of places that are very not only there for Pinterest reason, but also for the fact that here you have a square, and like, for example, one person can look for the children of everybody, or can look for the fact that nobody will sneak in other people's house more in a more simple way, that if people houses are just aligned like these ones. And also what happened, some British organization, NGOs, to build common buildings like theirs, and that were used by everybody. You can hear here you see the kitchen, the storage places, and the place where people could eat. Here you had some furnace for people to warm up. Also, these little houses were designed and existing. They were designed by a builder working for Doctor Without Border. But very soon you had those extensions that were added to the places and to make it a more welcoming places, adapted. But altogether, the thing was that we became aware of that problem, that how to design a welcoming city, how to make a welcoming city. This was in 2016, and of course these ideas have evolved since then. But as Benedict showed, for example, now you have policies and urban policies inside a small town, but at that time there was no real tools. And so we had to invent tools to have a background to that. And one of the tools which was existing since 1945 was the pyramid, the hierarchy, Maslow's hierarchy needs. That was invented in 1945, and this is the common background that is taught in school about what you need to give to people. But the problem is that, as you can see, it's seen as a pyramid, and you have basic needs, safety needs, social needs, esteem needs, and until self-actualization. But the thing is that if you use this tool, very often you will just give the very basic needs. You will give toilets, you will give a place to sleep, but people will be very unhappy, in the place they live, because in fact, actually, the thing is that if in 1945 things were working like that, today people have everybody, refugees, like everybody living in cities, have all the need. And so there is that new figure that we prefer to use, which is called the circle of Stevenson, and which says that all those needs are not on a pyramid, but they are on a circle, and that you have to be very good on all those topics of the circle. Of course, you have to be very good on the basic need, but you also have to be good on esteem needs and psychological needs in general. And so with those tools, we began to work on different models. And in the end, with that study, we came down to 6 models for the city, which we're going to go through quickly. One is to secure spontaneous neighborhoods and camps. We're going to come very quick on what I mean with that. Other one is to build and run a migrants' house inside the city, which is another policy which was done also in Grande Sainte. To build a new ecological welcoming neighborhood. So the idea is that you do not build a camp, but you build a new part of the city. You build it on new ground. I mean, it's not the main topic of today's thing, but in architecture and urban planning now, people more and more are concerned about the fact that you can transform places and even dismantle them and reuse them. I mean, it's part of an ecological policy. The number 4 is to squat and invest deserted building of the city. fifth one, to build new and transformable and adaptable building. And the sixth is to reinvest existing and outdated housing units. I mean, it's a little bit the one that Benedict just showed. So I'm going to be quick, but to give some example, to secure spontaneous neighborhoods and camps. This is, for example, a policy happening right now in Mayotte. In Mayotte, which is that small island in the Indian Ocean, which is part of France, you have about 40% of the population, which is done by illegal immigrants, and they live basically in slums. And little by little, we have convinced the local administration to do urban policies, to bring networks, to bring services inside the slums as part of a new urban policy, and so people live with a better dignity and also with lesser risk. This comes also from policies that are already active. For example, this is in Medellin, in Colombia, where that formal slum has been equipped with infrastructure. And so now this place is much better than it used to be. To build and run migrants' house inside the city, this is, for example, this is something existing in Briançon, where you have that place where people can come in and be welcome. They can sleep, of course, they can eat, they can participate, they can find advice, they can meet other people. And these places, you can have a network of them inside cities, and to be part of a policy, of a welcoming policy. This is on a different scale, but this is a house of a farmer in the La Joya Valley, which welcome migrants as well, and which built a part of his farm as a migrant's house. This is in Stuttgart, also, where those policy, obviously you can see the difference between France and Germany here, but this is also a migrant's house where they were happy to house migrants and local people involved in the topic in the house. The design, you have different apartments here, and the shape of the balcony was designed so people could even see it from each other from one level to the other and discuss and exchange. And this was a common balcony for all. To build new ecological and welcoming neighborhood, well, these are parts of cities. This is on the island of Lesbos. It was a formal campsite, but where you build in wood, you build with light materials, but you build something very comfortable, but something that can be also dismantled or transformed if you wish. Yeah, I'm going to go fast. I know the time is short. To squat and invest deserted building of the city.
To conclude, Cyrille.
Oh, okay. Well, so basically these are other policy based on squats and places in the cities. And of course, the last one is to reinvest, as Benedict shows, existing housing units that are kind of deserted. So this is all.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we can come back to your presentations after. And there is this book, Ville Accueillante, that you published, and that can give more details for people who want to look further.